Alrighty, I'll just do a very quick introduction. I'm here with my colleague Stacy, who's about to introduce herself. She's just going to run through how she uses Miradi Share in her role, and then I'll chime in at the end and explain how we configure the system to allow some of that sort of stuff to happen.
Yeah, great. We can see your screen.
Hi, sorry about that. Technical difficulties here. So thanks, Annette, and thanks for having me, everyone. I am one of the fundraisers here at Bush Heritage, and it's my job to look after our supporters that get involved in our projects across Australia. So obviously it's very important for me to access information not only on what we're planning to do in our projects, but also information on how things are progressing. So I've just popped up a map on the screen so you can just see how spread out our work is. So Annette and I are down the bottom corner in Melbourne. You can see all of the coloured sections are where we work, and the large pink circles and the little pink circles are where my donors live. So it's very important for me to be able to get information from very far away and then send it to a donor who's also quite far away from the projects. And Miradi is a great way for me to be able to do this. So I'll just pop over to the Miradi Share Bush Heritage homepage. So this is where I would go if I need to provide information for a donor. And what I can do is scroll down to an area of work that I'm focusing on. And at the moment, I'm focusing a lot on our Aboriginal Partnership Program. And you can see there's a link here to all of our projects. It will just load for you. So when I go to this homepage, you can see a list of all of the different Aboriginal partnership projects that I might be involved in fundraising for, and you can filter it in the top right-hand corner to show all 12 of them, I believe there are. And so often when I'm looking for information, I'll actually stop at this page because a big part of my job is chasing our projects teams for information, and I can look in the latest activity date column just on this page here, and I can see how long it has been since a project team has been in their Miradi file and put new information in. So that's a really good prompt for me. For example, you can see the MIMAL file about halfway down. It hasn't been updated since February this year, so that would prompt me to call that project team if I needed information and ask them to hurry up and pop it in Miradi for me. So two main things that I come into Miradi Share for is to find out information to take to a donor to ask them for money. And I'll just go through a really easy way that I can do that. So this is a project that I fundraise for. It's called Bringing Our Well Home, and it's up on the top part of Queensland in Australia, and the project is all about working with Aboriginal rangers to protect a species called the golden-shouldered parrot. And if I want information to take to a donor, I can use a function under the Explore tab. I can click on Associated Files and Links. And here we've saved a number of different documents that have been created by Miradi that help me do my job. I'll just open one of them for you to have a look at. Bear with me as it loads. This is called a prospectus, and it draws from a number of different fields in Miradi and gives an overview, here we go, of what we're doing for this project. So some of it will look very familiar, and this is the perfect introduction for a donor to a project. So it talks about what the project is, what the threats and strategies are, and goes all the way down into the budget. So that's a really good resource for me. Also in this associated files section of Miradi Share, there is a management plan for the whole project, and that gives me much more detailed information about what we're doing on the ground and what we need funding for. So that's one thing that I use Miradi for. The other thing that is really important is once a donor has given to a project, I need to tell them how that money is being used and how the project is progressing. So I can go back to our Bush Heritage Miradi Share homepage, and click on this link here called Progress Reports for Aboriginal Partnerships. And it will give me a table shortly. Okay, so you can see here the projects listed down the side. If I'm looking at the same project that I've been talking about, I can click on that one. And all I need to do is hover over one of these little black eye buttons. For example, I know that one of my donors has funded the Okala People Record Traditional Knowledge and Story About Parrots project. I can click on that eye and I can see from the date there that 3 days ago, one of our project team has popped in an update on how that project is going. And then it's up to me to copy and paste that out into an email or a document, or just call my donor and I can tell them that information in a really quick and easy manner. So if Miradi is the best place for me to get up-to-date information and to share it with donors, of course, not everything is in Miradi, so sometimes I still have to call the project team, but using Miradi first ensures that I don't double up on work and I know what I'm talking about when I call them. And my last point that I wanted to make is simply that if you don't have a fundraiser like me in your organisation, you can still use Miradi and Miradi Share in the same way that I do to package together information to ask donors for money and also to report back. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Thanks very much, Stacey. Can you stop sharing your screen? Yeah. Yeah, cool. Alrighty. So I'll just spend a quick minute, very quickly, because I know we're short on time, and talk about how we set up some of the parameters so that people like Stacey can do that kind of work. To me, Stacey is an example of a role that needs to be able to see across a bunch of projects, not just work within one project. A lot of the features of Miradi and Miradi Share are obviously around helping conservation practitioners run their project, but there's a whole, obviously, support network around those people, and so one of my interests is in around helping these support people manage information so that they can do a good job of helping the other people that are trying to run the projects. A lot of this information, as Ilka was just saying, is all packaged up into a template. If I quickly look inside one of our templates, we've just got some really simple structures that let us do that kind of reporting. So one, for example, is just our organisation units. So all the different parts of our organisation, there's now a drop-down list in every project where we can just say that this project is part of the West region or an Aboriginal partnership or whatever. My screen keeps freezing. Another drop-down list or taxonomy is this landscape. So where in the country is the project operating, giving us options for rolling up information to different levels. We're doing a whole lot of work at the moment, a bit like what Ilka was just explaining, around being able to roll up indicators to different levels. But the work we've got already in place is the progress reporting that Stacey just demonstrated. But we have another taxonomy that lets us cut things a different ways. So here's progress reports that are cut by a taxonomy that's classifying all the strategies in all the projects. So, for example, there's all the strategies around the country that are tagged as being active in fire management are being pulled out by this report. So here's a list of all the projects around the country, the status of the work that they're doing around fire management. It's just done by having a taxonomy in a template and then using that to group up information. My system's going dreadfully slow. And then likewise, we can do it by other types of strategies, species recovery, different sort of research and monitoring work, invasive species control, restoration kind of projects. So I know we're running short on time, so I won't go into much more detail, but basically if you're wanting to be able to roll up information or report groups of projects or subsets of all your projects, then getting your head around templates and taxonomies is